Picture this, you're a warrior. You're a gladiator in the arena of life, and you need the fuel to dominate every battlefield. That is where Jocko Fuel steps in. First up, Jocko Go, designed to unlock endless energy and focus, keeping you at peak performance. Then, Jocko Bulk Protein. Build muscle like a champion. It is packed with top-grade protein. Next, Jocko Greens, nature's weapon for vitality and peak performance. And of course, Jocko Hydrate. Hydration done right with electrolytes for the fight. Don't forget, Jocko Joint Warfare. Say goodbye to stiffness and discomfort. And here's the kicker. All products are Jocko tested, scientifically formulated and clean. No banned substances, just pure power. So warriors, level up with Jocko Fuel and unleash the beast within. It is more than just supplements. It's a way of life. Like everything Conor's done in media, this is working. This is just not a strategy. So the reason I offer you that is, what is going on here? Like, I even had somebody ask me that. My wife said to me, what is your best guess? And it was easier for me to start eliminating some of the obvious things. Like, not to tell you what this is, but it became a little easier to tell you what this is not. For example, you guys saw this stuff, but the very first rumor when this is, he's hit by USADA. I realize there's new folks. The article actually said USADA. And that would have been on the table, right? For something, but that guess isn't awful. It's not one that I supported because I don't believe in a professional press release the UFC would hit you with bad news only to another time have to give you the worst news. I believe they would have come out and said, fight is canceled, here's the replacement. Would have built an excitement and buzz around that, and as you get to the bottom, there'd be a little asterisk that says, obviously, all media has been canceled as well. Like, I think that's the way they would have done it. That is a guess. I'm just sharing with you. I never thought that it was USADA, but we then later got informed that it wasn't the UFC that canceled it at all, that it was Conor. Now, what that does is it allows us to eliminate such suggestions as a negative assay on a drug test. And things of this vein all of a sudden start to get eliminated. Then we hear from Conor himself. Now, that brought a little bit of pause. And I was very clear when I was speaking to you guys that I believe the fight's on. The press conference was not actually canceled, and that word really does matter. In the world of refunds and what you have to do if you sold a ticket to an event and the event does not take place, like in the world of that, the word you use really matters. And this word was called postponed. So in the light that it was postponed and not canceled, I was very measured to let you guys know, I think the fight's still on. I can't explain what's going on here, but I think that for a couple of reasons. Look, Conor came out, he put out a statement. Now, it wasn't Conor. There was words in there that Conor McGregor has never used. It was one of the first words right off the top that he's never even said. And that's okay. That's okay. He got a team and they put it out. That's okay. But the fact that he's already made a statement strengthens the idea that the fight is a go. It strengthens the idea because if you're going to pull out of a fight, it's not as though this is a new thing. Illness, injury, it's one of those too. But this would have been where you revealed the fake illness or the fake injury. And that wasn't done. Professional release or not, they stated that after consulting with the UFC for matters that are simply out of their control, the press conference was canceled. Okay. Now, I get that Conor didn't say that, and I get that the person that did is not under oath. But if we are to take that, okay, the problem, when you talk about things that are outside of my control, there's a lot of contracts that you will do, and the clause in the contract will actually be a God clause, an act of God. Now, whether you believe in God or not, that's what the act is called to a hurricane, an earthquake, a tsunami. things that no human controlled, if one of those things precludes you from moving forward, a lot of contracts will have that built in, and all right, we all try again later. And the reason I say that is to say things that are beyond our control works without explanation for canceling an event. You don't have to say where the earthquake was. I mean, I'm just sharing for you. The problem is all media leading up to the fight was canceled by Conor. Now, as I sit here 5 minutes in and I'm sharing that with you, if that isn't accurate, like, I'm only as good as the information I've been given. If what I just said, like, Conor might be watching this and go, Chael, you're way off. I didn't even cancel media. I didn't even have any lined up. Oh, okay, fair enough. I'm sharing with you. This came out within the reports, right? And Conor can't really get mad at me for citing something that came out when I'm well aware that maybe it happened, maybe it didn't. He can't really be mad when he put out a press release that is not him. When he put out a press release that is not his own words. Like, he can't really be upset when bad information gets out there. And I'm only sharing for you. If there was an act of God, there's something outside of your control that might cancel an event. But that in and of itself is an interesting topic, because I predict for you it would not have been canceled. What do you guys think? Now, if it was the other way around, and Michael Chandler didn't show, you bet dollars to donuts that press conference would have gone on, and for obvious reasons, right? You got the showman, the whole thing could have been done. But I don't think they'd cancel it. That's what I think. If Conor couldn't be there for reasons outside of his control, now I am extending that to an act of God, but I have to. There's no contract that says out of your control, and then you give an excuse. It actually has to be a bigger event. So Dana was already there. And Chandler didn't get on the plane, but he could have got on the plane. He could have been out there. Ray and Charlie from ESPN, they're going to be in charge of all the technology to bring it to you guys, were already there. The building was already reserved and staffed, not to mention sold out. My point being, they could have held the press conference. And this has been tested. It was a much smaller crowd, and tickets weren't for sale, and you didn't go do a destination. You didn't go to a guy's hometown and then have the hometown guy not show up. I see where that would be a problem. I'm just sharing for you. This has been tested. Nick Diaz didn't show up for a press conference. There was an empty chair. Dana, George, and an empty chair. And that was the first clip in 9 months that got put on SportsCenter. Like, it ended up really turning into something. I don't remember my own press conferences. I remember that one. And I think you guys do too, right? My point being, the show goes on, and you can turn it into something, always. And Michael Chandler isn't completely aloof. By the way, he was going to be the first guy to ever come and actually compete with Conor. Michael Chandler was not going to concede that microphone or that press conference. It would have been an interesting thing. And the fact that I believe the show would have gone on is the one thing that makes you give a second look to the fight itself. I believe Conor's going to be in there. I believe it's going to be Conor versus Chandler. I believe that for a number of reasons. But one of them is a man lives by a code, and Conor McGregor has a code, and he fiercely adheres to that code. And he is not changing for any of you. You want to quit drinking whiskey? Whiskey's part of the code, right? You might like it and you might not like it, but he is going to adhere to that identity. And Conor McGregor always makes sure the show goes on. He's never interfered. Changed weights, changed sports, changed opponent. They've done everything that no other athlete would do. But the one constant remained is when Conor said he's going to show up, he's going to fight for his fans, he did. So, I can't explain the canceled press conference. I can't explain that. It's not as though it's unexplainable when you're counting on McGregor and there's no McGregor in your hometown of McGregor. Like, it's not as though it's not explainable. But Chandler's not like the rest of them. Chandler's better. And Chandler could have handled that crowd. And there would be a built-in story. I did a press conference personally. And at the time, it was a massive feud opposite Vanderlei Silva. It was a massive feud. And Vanderlei came in via Zoom. Whatever happened with his flight and his ticket, he ended up not being able to do the travel. So they put up a big screen, and there's Vanderlei. And the audience at home doesn't really feel the difference. You don't really feel it. Like when I'm up there talking, the camera does a single right on me. Then when Vanderlei's talking, there's a single right on him. It just happens that it was on Zoom. Like, you didn't really feel the difference. And that part of it is a mystery. Why this thing was canceled. And don't tell me it was canceled because Conor didn't come. Had press conferences where guys haven't come. We didn't cancel the press conference. So as much as that is a surprise and a mystery, and as much as I am telling you, I really think Conor's going to be standing opposite Chandler. I truly do believe that. But these two don't quite go together. They just don't. Canceling all the media excludes the press release that Conor put out as though it was his own words. It excludes that. And having the show that must go on and understanding that it wasn't canceled by the UFC, it was canceled by Conor. Now, all Conor can cancel is his participation in it. That press conference could have gone on. And what's really going on here, I mean, it's extremely hard. It's extremely hard to keep a secret in our industry. And every now and then, you tell a lie that you haven't thought through. You're not ready for follow-up questions. You're not ready for some of the most basic questions. You got the lie and you're here, but you need time. So, in those cases, you say nothing.